Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Semi-Informed Football Podcast. Today, we're going to be focusing on the Champions League final between Inter FC of Milan and PSG. On the show today is Marko and Mark. Mark, how are you doing?
Awesome, Marco. It's the eve of the Champions League final. This is a big event in my schedule on the year. I'm always looking forward to the final, regardless of who's playing. If you're a fan of the game, this has got to be at the top of your list.
Yeah. All right, crazy. So we're going to focus on the hype, the team strengths, standout players. I'm going to actually throw in some betting odds. Not that I bet on the game. I never bet on the game. I don't bet, period, to tell you the truth. But I guess
I said, did you hear that, Sandro Tonali?
Yeah, right. And to take my lead, right? To stay out of trouble. No, but anyway, I just think it's really interesting how, I don't know, for lack of a better word, Vegas or whoever it is actually kind of takes a look at it right here. And then we're actually going to take a look at our predictions, Mark. That's always a favorite part of this right here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to point out that like among all this that's ever happening, like all the leagues kind of wrapping up and everything, there's been a lot of news in the world of football. So let's just kind of get that out of the way because I just want to acknowledge a lot of that stuff right here. And just put that. So the Conference League final, that was that. You know what? Honestly, where Betis were, I thought that they came out pretty strong. Like I didn't really expect a Chelsea loss there, but Chelsea came back, and you know what? They ended up putting away. But you got to give it that Betis. You know, they had a really good match.
Yeah, they did, and I don't know. Maybe with all the hype with Anthony, I thought he was going to do something.
Yeah, that's right.
He's had a great time at Betis, but maybe there's too much pressure there too. Chelsea's a talented enough squad to win this third tier tournament. So
yeah, well, that's good. And again, just not to belabor the point, but the fact that they might be adding Liam Delap is really interesting. So it's prying that one away from Manchester United.
yeah, you know what? Not enough people are talking highly enough about Delap, but Delap coming from the City Academy, I believe.
Yeah.
He's an under 21 for England. He's a great player. He's a great addition.
Yeah, I think he'll do well, especially kind of linking up with Palmer. Okay, come on, let's just kind of move on around here.
Yeah.
Napoli's icing Serie A on the last day. Like it looks like between Napoli and Inter, they were kind of trickling into this, but for this to happen, again, Napoli's second Scudetto in 3 years. Honestly, you got to give that, and you got to give that to a team led by Conte, who, well, at this point, I don't think he's leaning towards staying either.
So the latest I heard was that he sat down with De Laurentiis and ironed it out, and that he is staying.
Yeah,
I mean that's the latest that I've heard. I think
he's changed.
He's done a great job.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. He's the one who believed in Lukaku the most.
Yes.
And they delivered.
Yeah.
What's amazing about this story is that I don't think many people thought Napoli would do this after losing both Kavar and Osimhen
in the same season.
Yeah.
Osimhen before the season started, and Kvaratskhelia in January. Unreal. But we're gonna talk about Kvaratskhelia afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
and just I think now Napoli, if they can really lock down Conte, all these rumors about signing Kevin De Bruyne, Garnacho, and Jonathan David, I think Napoli want to make a push in Champions League.
Yeah, amazing. Other things: Kylian Mbappe winning the Golden Shoe. That was there. Coaching carousel: Xabi Alonso to Real Madrid, Eric Ten Hag to Bayer Leverkusen, and then your point right now with Conte. And who knows what's happening with Klopp, because I think he's getting a little bit antsy in his role at the head of sports at Red Bull Sports. So
yeah, and also with Max Allegri. A lot of teams looking to sign him now. It looks like AC Milan might be the front runners.
Oh, there we go. Very interesting. Okay, so let's jump into the Champions League final. The hype and the build-up. How much hype has there actually been for this game?
Quite a bit, I think. And I think so because, first of all, PSG hasn't won this tournament before.
Yes.
And Inter hasn't won in quite some time.
And I think lots of redemption for them from 2023, just 2 years ago. Losing.
It is. Yeah. 2 years ago, you were here. think about how impossible it is to make it back to the finals. So I think for a lot of neutrals, myself included, it's going to be exciting to see uh, these two teams battle it out.
Yeah.
A new champion, right? Not your Madrid.
Yeah. So you mentioned PSG. So PSG lost to Bayern in that weird COVID season of 2020. Another thing too is that the only other French team to actually win the Champions League is Marseille back in 1993. And if you ever want to kind of Google something, there's a lot of controversy of how they were playing, you know, with respect to sort of match fixing within within Liga. So it's really, really interesting. And one really interesting thing that I would say, so Marseille is very, very adamant that they have been the only French team to ever win the Champions League. So this is the story that I saw on Threads. So Threads is my new social media network of choice. But on Threads, it is somebody was saying that in the city of Marseille, you cannot find an Inter jersey. They've sold out everywhere. Everybody will be wearing Inter jerseys in the city of Marseille this week, which I think is a pretty good of, you know, kind of a little bit of a jab.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember years ago, I think the final was a Juve Madrid final, and in Barcelona, they were selling Juve jerseys like hotcakes. You got to up the sport, right?
No, it's true. It's true. Okay, let's actually talk about sort of the team strengths of these these squads. So right now, Inter Milan, always known that this is again, I don't. It's not much of a different team from 2023, but again, my reaction to into the Inter Milan team is strong defensive framework. They have those reliance on the wing backs. So you see the Marko on one side, and you see the Dumfries on the other side, and have they not been super resilient in these knockout rounds? Like it's unreal.
Dumfries is so underrated. He's been an incredible player. Same with the national team when he plays for the Dutch. He really is underrated. Going back to the point you made about the difference between this inter squad and last time, it's the addition of Marcus Thuram. And Marcus Thuram has been phenomenal. He's helped carry Inter when Lautaro was either injured or not producing like he did last year. So now with Lautaro, I'm gonna say he's healthy, and with Thuram, we'll see how the game goes. One thing though I did notice about Thuram in the Barcelona sort of series there was that he was getting tired towards the end of the game, where I felt like the Barcelona players kept running at full speed.
Right. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they're managed their minutes, right?
Yeah. So well, actually, let's take a look at the predicted lineup. So I pulled this just this morning. So Matthias Sommer in net. We see that on the back three, which they've been known for a back three all season, is De Vrij, Acerbi, and Bastoni. Okay, their mid, which I've said this on podcasts before, is like one of my like most solid mids that I think in Europe right now. Are Dumfries as the back, Barella, Çalhanoğlu, Mkhitaryan, and DeMarco on the other side too. And you're a dual striker system of both Lautaro and Thuram. So Thuram being in there, being the new addition to that, adding a little bit of sort of kind of that youthful energy to as well. But I think that's how Inter's kind of lining up. Now, let's actually take a look. So PSG. So what's PSG known for? So kind of their high energy attack. They're really a bit more of a possession based style, and their standout midfielder. Now, I'm actually gonna go right into their lineup right now, and then we'll take a look at their midfield. So Donnarumma is gonna be a net, 100%. They're gonna have a back four: Hakimi, Marquinhos, Pacho, and Mendes, and their midfield is gonna be of Neves, of Vitinha, Ruiz, and up front, which is I think a lot of people are getting introduced to Desiree Doué.
Yes, unclear.
Yeah, Dembele as their striker and Kvaratskhelia on the other side. So this seems a really, really strong attack, and we're not even mentioning Bradley Barcola.
I was gonna say Bradley Barcola, yeah.
Yeah, no, but you know what? Honestly, you got to give it to I guess their depth right now, because it looks like maybe Doué might be the preferred starter with that, but again, it's always some energy off the bench.
Well, that's the thing when we talk about managing a game like this. It's a final, and you don't know how it's going to go. Oftentimes, finals are sort of cautious, right? And if you're playing a cautious game, there's a likelihood to go into extra time or into penalty shots. So if they do start Doué and Barcola's coming off the bench, that's a fantastic substitute to bring in for energy, for goal scoring, for all this stuff late in the game.
Right. Another thing, again, there's been news all week, so you just keep on reading things that Kvaratskhelia actually what was a healthy scratch for the Coupe de France, the win over, and this is not Rennes or Reims, it's Ram. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm gonna go back and check that right now. But all I heard that, I'm like, I've never heard it pronounced that way, but that's how the French pronounce it. So I'm actually go with that. So that that's interesting. Again, you've mentioned this on podcast past where Kvaratskhelia has been such a phenomenal January add to this team, and he's such a talented player.
Super talented. I'm actually going to say that he's probably the hungriest player of these two squads.
Yeah.
I think, he's wanted to play Champions League. He's wanted to go far. He keeps getting better and better each game. I just feel like he is the hungriest out of everybody.
Yeah. Let's actually move to the managers. So Luis Enrique, so he won this with Barca back in 2015. And then you have Simone Inzaghi on the Inter side. What do you think about the matchup between these? Do you think these are both equally very, very strong coaches?
Yes, absolutely. I think they're both equally matched. It's nice to see a guy like Enrique. Yeah, you have a talented Barcelona squad, but to go to another club and put in your system and prove your system works by reaching the finals.
Yeah.
Right? And Enrique's a fantastic coach. He knows what he's doing. On the flip side, Inzaghi again, back to the finals again. Right? So two amazing coaches, experienced coaches. And when I say experienced, I'm saying they will both know what to do in the late game scenarios.
Interesting.
Right? And I'm sure both of them are also planning late game set plays, looking for corners and what to do. Right. So taking from sort of what Arsenal did with their unique corner kick strategies and setups in the box, that's what I'm expecting these two great coaches to do.
Amazing. So let's take a look at standout players, and I'm going to throw it Inter Milan first. Who do you think is going to be a standout player or maybe a difference maker in this match?
Okay, I think Thuram is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that, again, Dumfries.
Yes.
Denzel Dumfries. And I think this is the time that Lautaro Martinez really has to solidify, I guess, his standing in world football, so to speak.
Right.
There's a time when Messi's eventually going to have to hang him up. And so for the national club, who's your next guy? It has to be Lautaro. It could be Julian Alvarez, but I think if he really wants to prove himself, he's got to be a difference maker.
Interesting. So I'm going to take honestly, I think Lautaro's as solid as you can get in Inter. Like my prediction, I guess he's going to score in this game. Like I can't see that not happening. No. I'm going to cheat a little bit with this because he's actually saved Inter against Bayern. But I like Frattesi, Davide Frattesi. I feel like off the bench, he's going to be a difference maker. Like this is something that might go down the stretch. So that's a little bit trick with that. We didn't mention this in the coaches, but I really appreciate Simone Inzaghi's really good use of the bench. And he's got a few players coming off the bench. So he's got Frattesi, Carlos Augusto, Mehdi Taremi as well, right? So that's also a little bit of a hidden gem right there. So let's see how he kind of manages his bench. But I have full confidence in the way he manages his bench. Let's go on to PSG. Who do you think the difference makers are going to be? Like, name a standout player.
Well, by far, Kavar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Kvaratskhelia is by far the standout to me. The difference maker. He doesn't need to score a goal to stand out. His play off the ball or his assists, the way he draws defenders towards him. If he draws a double coverage or a triple coverage and he dishes it into space, he's really setting up his team. The other guy I'm going to go with is, I think, Ousmane Dembele.
Of course.
I think Ousmane Dembele will score. simply because I think he's really reflecting on his career, the time that he spent at Barcelona. It wasn't always so positive, and now he's made it to the finals of the Champions League, and I think he really wants to prove his worth as well.
Okay, interesting.
Sorry, one more player that I
Yeah.
think will be impactful this game, who also is really hungry, is Hakimi.
Yeah, stole that from me. So Hakimi, who states it came from Inter, being wanting to be sort of a leader on this team and
Yeah.
really kind of icing his reason to like his decision to go to PSG. So honestly, I like that as well. I am, yeah, for Chelia, you have that as well. Desiree Doué, like I said, I've been paying attention to him for weeks. Like I really think that's coming out of nowhere. Like a lot of people that don't understand the sort of like as the French system really have never heard of him. But like I feel like Bradley Barcola might be a difference maker as well. Like again, bursting onto this scene, I think he's such a very, very quality player, and looks like he might start this from the bench. But again, we'll see. Um, that's it. It's going to come down to a lot of players, but I guess one player, and we haven't even taken a look at uh in the net, but Donnarumma. I feel that if this goes 120 minutes, if this goes to penalty kicks, Donnarumma's gonna like, come out with this one.
Yeah, no, I have to agree.
Yeah.
First of all, his gargantuan size, right? So I do think that if it goes to kicks, Donnarumma has so much experience. Did it in Europa.
Yeah.
Um, he won against England in that penalty shootout there. So, and he's been solid all this time.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna jump into right now some betting odds. Now I pulled this on Wednesday, so we're recording this on Friday, right before the Champions League. So I pulled this on Wednesday, so this is probably wildly fluctuated. However, as of Wednesday, the current betting odds were PSG were favored by plus 125, Inter at plus 230, and a draw of plus 220. So Inter is favored in this. Okay, so let's kind of jump into what you think is going to happen, your prediction, and ignoring the stats that I just mentioned. But what do you see coming out?
I'm gonna say my prediction is that PSG is gonna win.
Yeah.
I think it'll be 3-2. And the reason why I think PSG will survive and be the champions is because they're younger. They're younger, they got fresher legs, they got that speed. Inter's great, they've made it all this way, but I just think they're a step too slow. And so I'm gonna give it to PSG 3-2.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, I think my standard has always been to go with the opposite of your pick. Um, again, like I've been following PSG for like a good 2 years now, and I love. It's just funny because Mbappe had like this plan of what he wanted PSG to be, building up French players and everything like that. But I had to have him leaving before they're actually realizing this plan. I do appreciate PSG as a team, and I definitely think that they deserve to be here. However, I'm gonna go with Inter, and I'm gonna go with a weird score. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I say 1-0, and I think it's gonna be Lautaro that scores that. However, you know what? I'm never right on these predictions. But
Because it is a final, that's not really far-fetched. Finals are often very tight, very close. I think my prediction's actually kind of wild, 3-2 in a final.
Yeah, no, and that would be an exciting final. So that I'd be looking forward to that one as well, right? So I know I do like the sort of I love the fact that this from two different leagues, such great teams from different leagues. With PSG kind of putting away three English clubs on their way here, top clubs on their way here. So this has been really really interesting. So I want everybody to please enjoy this game on Saturday. This is going to be an amazing game, and honestly, I think we're going to see top level talent. And you know what? From that, I guess what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to reconnect on a sort of a wrap up of what we thought about the game. So we'll reconnect that. We'll send the invite over to Mateo as well, and also give a little bit of a promo to I guess the farce that I consider the Club World Cup, but it's happening, right? So anyway, with that said, so hey Mark, enjoy that game.
Yeah, you too, Marco.
Cool. And until next time, we're keeping you
7-4.